So she died yesterday, 8:45 p.m.
Oh,
Hmm. So he was about 91 years. Hmm. And of course, he had a natural death. Now, I don't have much details about him, so I just want to share the screen about her father-in-law's photo, so you can all see the photo of his. You can see this photo, right? Hmm?
yes, sir.
Yes, Guru.
So his name is Ramanjalu. May his soul rest in peace. So she's asking for prayers for her father-in-law. Now we don't know any background about her father-in-law, his activities, what he has done, etc. So we just pray that the Lord shower mercy on him. So Shweta Mataji, being a practicing devotee, all her practices would have helped the family and the family members to elevate to the higher level. Even if they are not practicing, to elevate to higher level. What's the proof? So, for example, Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee, a great devotee, right? So, if you look at the life of Virochana, King Virochana, if you look at the life of Bali Maharaj and other descendants, everyone got the benefit because Prahlad Maharaj was a devotee. That's the benefit. That's what you offer to your entire family, right? Now, how? So, for example, did Bali Maharaj go back home immediately after his life? No. So he was offered a place in Sutalaloka. And then slowly he became the next Indra. Then after a lifetime of Indra, which is one Manvantara, then he will get liberated, go back home, back to Godhead. So the next Indra for us will be Bali Maharaj. Hmm? So like that you see, anyone who takes up the practice, right, they influence their entire family, not just their parents and things like that. And what does that influence results in? The influence results in Lord giving them a suitable opportunity. Okay. See, just getting a human birth is only one of it. But getting a human birth, an ability to understand the spiritual subjects, an ability to practice it, and also stand in the test of time is one gets back home, back to Godhead, right? So you saw in the case of Gopakumara, right? What happened? He got the mantra, he got Guru. Did he get liberated immediately? No. Krishna had to show him every aspects of this creation. What is it and what's its limitation? When Gopakumar himself experienced, oh, this is the limitation of every aspect of this creation. The ultimate is, being under the service of the Lordship. That is when Krishna liberated him. So until that realization happens, we don't get liberated. Otherwise, we are born again in this material world under different circumstances, under, different situations, time zones, and we keep on experiencing. For example, let's say we're buying a cloth. Each one of us have our favorite store. Okay, why we constantly hit that store maximum number of times compared to other stores. Why? Because we've gained confidence. How we gain confidence in him? Because we saw the other stores which does not feed my design, my costing, my choices, many other factors. Then we say, hey, he's the best for me. Be it a store, be it a tailor, be it a doctor, be it a lawyer. So similarly, what Krishna is trying to do is he's trying to give us different kinds of offerings of activities that we can perform in this world. We perform those activities taste it, and then we say, no, this is not my cup of tea. This is not what I want. So that dissatisfaction drives you to higher levels of realization. And that's what the Lord is trying us to do. But intelligent devotees, what they do, they tell the Lord, Lord, there is two ways to get dissatisfaction with the elements in the material world or at different levels in this material world. One is by actually experiencing it. Another is by telling the Lord, oh Lord, I've seen this person going through this desire, and this is what he got as an end result. I don't want to go through it because I've seen what is it. So they do not choose the path of self-experience. They choose the path of learning from others' mistake. And then straight away they go there. So that's the difference between a realized soul and a non-realized soul. Okay. So, um, so applying those logic and things like that, I'm sure Mr. Ramanjulu will get a better opportunity because of practices done by a person in that house. Okay. And that better opportunity, he should take it and grab it and practice nicely to purify himself and go back home back to God. Right. That's the important. So let's recite once for the father-in-law of Shweta Muralidhar Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Ram, Ram,
Hare
Ram.
Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
Hare.
Rama Rama Hare Hare Hare.
Okay. So this is how, we taking up devotion service helps others. Okay. Now, there is something that I want to begin. Before we begin Canto 3, I want to show you something. Okay, just a second. I was reading different authors, different books on a regular basis. Then I saw this was very interesting. Okay. So, give me 2 minutes. I'll just. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share you something now. Now, this is called Acharya. Their work. Okay. So let me delete one column. Yes. Okay, so let's do this exercise now. Okay, can you all see this on screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So this is called Acharya and their works. Okay. And this work here refers to the kind of literature that they wrote. Now, why it is important, I will tell you. Why we're doing this exercise, I'll tell you. Just increase the size text of it. Okay. So now what we have to do is very simple, right? We have to map. So this is the author or the Acharya. Okay, and this is the work or the literature. Okay. So now we have to map which author wrote which literature. Okay. For example, now you see there are two authors, like two times Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has repeated. That means he has written two books. Okay. See, they've written many more, but I just took the most important and topmost that devotees read and practice. Okay. For example, Rupa Goswami himself has written more than 1,000 books. So we're just taking one, which is the most important and doing. Okay. So shall we do this? Now,
Yes,
think
Prabhu.
answer. Don't shoot arrows. Okay? Don't shoot arrows. Think an answer. Then that way we can make it successful. Okay? Okay, so let's start. So, Gaura Sundara, which one you can? Sikshashtakam. Okay. Okay, so we'll type that there here. Okay. So it is chance for everyone. Everyone should participate. And we like uniform participation. Okay, it should not be skewed towards anyone. So people can unmute and be ready so that you can speak. Okay. Now, if you've already given one answer correctly, my request is you should refrain from answering further so that others can answer. That way, everyone gets a turn to practice. Okay. Rupa Goswami.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhu.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Do you all agree it's correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. That's correct. Okay. So next. Sanatana Goswami. What do you think is written?
Brihad Bhagavatam.
Correct. Very good. Okay, one more book is written. Any chance?
Hari Bhakti Vilas.
But you see in the list Hari Bhakti Vilas is not there. So why you want to say Hari Bhakti Vilas? This is the literature.
Stavavali.
No, you lose your chance. Once you've answered correctly, you give chance to others. That is how Vaishnava Para Dukkha Dukhi actually happens. Because I don't grow alone, I grow along with others. So if you've answered, give chance to others. Okay, Sanatana Goswami, what else do you think is written? Anyway, Stavavali is the wrong answer. No? What is this? All silent. Are you all awake? Okay, so we'll come back then if you don't know that. Okay, Raghunath Das Goswami, which literature is written? You all have Googles, right? Search at least an answer. Huh?
Prema Bhakti Chandrika, Prabhu.
Raghunath Das Goswami. No, Raghunath Goswami was Sabavali. Raghunath Das Goswami wrote Stavoli. That is a very famous literature he wrote. Okay. Jiva Goswami, what do you think he wrote?
Sat Sandarbha Prabhu.
Perfect. Satsangavas. Okay, great, good. Okay, Krishnaraj Kaviraj Das Goswami.
Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhu.
Chaitanya Charitam, very good. It was easy, no? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
What else he wrote from this list? Huh? What else he wrote? Krishnaraja, Krishnadasa Kaviraj Goswami. What else he wrote? No, Srimad Bhagavatham he didn't write. Think and answer. No? Okay. He wrote Govinda Leelamrita. Sri Govinda Leelamrita. Okay. Narottam Das Thakur, what did he write?
Prema Bhakti Chandrika.
Perfect. He wrote Prema Bhakti Chandrika. Who was that?
Vishnu Priya.
Oh, very good. He wrote one more book. Most famous book. Huh?
Prarthana.
Prarthana. Perfect. He wrote Prarthana. Okay. So now we are getting closer to complete it. So if you get your chance, give chance to others. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. What did he write?
Vaishnava Tosani.
Vaishnava Tosani. Perfect. Okay. Okay. Then he wrote one more book. No, sorry. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura did not write Vaishnava Tosani. I'm sorry. That's wrong answer. What did he write? Only 4 choices still you're not able to conclude.
Bhagavatam commentary.
Yeah, all our commentaries Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, right? What you all forgot? He wrote one more literature. Which is the one? I gave a clue also.
Bhagavad Gita Prabhu.
Yeah. Prabhupada wrote all the maximum commentary from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura. And some from Sridhar Swami and some from other acharyas. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also, he took many. Okay, now the last 2. Let's see who can tell correctly. Bhaktivinoda Thakura, what did he write? And Sanatana Goswami, what did he write?
Sharanagati Prabhu.
But where is the Sharanagati? There is a choice here.
Sanatana Goswami wrote Vaishnava Tosani, Prabhu.
Sanatana Goswami wrote Vaishnava Tosani, that is correct. Yes. Okay, so that means that easily concludes
Vani Vaibhava.
Vani Vibhava, this one. Okay, so you see, so many wonderful books are there. Okay. Now comes the next part of the game. Okay, what does Sikshashtakam give us? Who can answer that?
Prabhu, it
Very tough,
glorifies
huh?
the
Eight-
holy
eight
name of
verses
the
is
chanting.
8 verses sung by Mahaprabhu.
No. What is the question? What is the question, Prabhu?
What it gives to us.
What it gives, what is it, is not the question.
Prabhu, it purifies our heart. It gives us humbleness, tolerance.
No.
Prabhu, it
That is not
glorifies
the
the
answer.
holy name. It
What?
glorifies the holy name, Prabhu, and tells us how we should chant and what we can get, Prabhu. Finally.
Does Sikshashtakam give you that? No, it doesn't give that.
మనం ఏ విధంగా ఏ భావంతో భగవంతుని ప్రే చేయాలనేది ఉంది ప్రభు.
No.
Prabhu, it
You're all
glorifies
glorifies
the
Guru,
first and
Prabhu.
second.
It glorifies Guru, who has given us the knowledge of devotion and everything, Prabhu.
Sikshashtakam.
Devotion.
Does Sikshashtakam glorify Guru? Where are you? Have you ever read Sikshashtakam?
Sorry.
See, so very important. Okay, so that means to do this exercise, the second exercise is very tough. Why? Because unless you've read that book, you won't be able to answer the question. Okay, so what is that? For example, I'll give you one example. Bhakti Rasamrita.
and Prayojana.
Which one gives Sambandha Abhidaya Prayojana? Which literature referring to, Prabhu?
Sikshashtakam.
Sambandha Abhidaya Prayojana, does it give that much? No, fully. It gives Prayojana as an ultimate, but does it give Sambandha and all those things? No. It doesn't give that. Where is Sambandha in Sikshashtakam?
9 devotional processes.
What is Prayojana it gives, finally, ultimately, yes. But where is Sambandha and Abhidaya in it?
Okay, nine devotional processes of bhakti.
Does Sikshashtakam give that?
Prabhu, it emphasizes on bhakti yoga and then also emphasizes on the power of chanting, Prabhu.
No, it doesn't emphasize the power of chanting. Where does it emphasize the power of chanting? Which verse tells me that it emphasizes the power of chanting?
Prabhu, the first verse says about the glories, no, Prabhu. It cleans
But
the
what
heart.
does it say? What it cleanses the heart, that's all.
Cleanses
Then
the heart. It increases our bliss, all that. And it also says there is no rules and regulations in the second verse. So that is glorification, no, Prabhu.
it is
And
not
then
glorification. It is not glorification. It
Is
is
activities of the Guru
establishing.
Prabhu?
One second. It establishes the position of the holy name.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
What the holy name can do to you, it does not glorify the holy name. There's a difference between position and glorification. Okay. In the second verse, what does it say? Even though the power of holy name is so much, one cannot chant because of his impurity. So Mahaprabhu is talking about purity of consciousness, which is most important. Otherwise, whatever I give you, it's like this, Mataji. A person has never trained. A soldier is never trained on any warfare skills. But you give the best of the weapons to him. Is it of any use to him?
No use.
No use. So that's what Mahaprabhu is trying to say. I have given the holy name, which is so powerful, but it's useless in your hands because you lack purity. You lack the right consciousness. You lack all the skills that are required for practicing devotion. That's what Sikshashtakam teaches in the first part of it. Correct, no? Second verse says, even though it's all powerful, no taste for you to chant. Why you can't have any taste for chant? Because you're not humble, you're not tolerant, you're not respectful, you're always self-centered. And again, what does it say? You're power hungry, you're lust hungry, you're this hungry, you're greedy, you're this, that, so you cannot get. Like that, Mahaprabhu is going on telling, even though holy name is very powerful, you lack the skills, the abilities to catch on to that holy name. So it talks about your purity of consciousness, your inability of doing things. So hence Mahaprabhu says, work on those so that you'll taste the nectar of the holy name. Right? That is Sikshashtakam. That's the first part of Sikshashtakam. The second part of Sikshashtakam is what Prayojana is. The bhakti is so deep that even 1 minute I don't see you, Mahaprabhu, I feel like 11 years of separation from you, and I cry and I cry and I cry, and I feel destitute and I feel like killing myself. So that's what Sikshashtakam is. So anyway, we'll not do that exercise because unless you have read these, you can't understand what it gives. Okay? But at least now, let's understand that great authors have written these primary books that as a Vaishnava that we should read that at least once in our life. So why? Why we have to read? I want to understand that. So, for example, when you read an author's book, the benefit of reading the author's book is you will see whatever is the consciousness of that author, whatever is there in the mind is what we understand. Okay. So when we went to Krishna, we asked Krishna, Krishna, give me this, give me that. But what Krishna said? Okay, I'll give you anything you want, but give me one thing that I want from you. What does Krishna want from us? What's that one thing Krishna wants from us? From Bhagavad Gita.
Devotion, love. Devotion.
Yeah, but what does he specifically say?
Surrender
Bhakti.
and
Surrender.
Huh?
surrender.
No, surrender is an act. What does he want from us? He wants our mind and consciousness. Manmana bhavamat bhakta madhyajimam namaskuru. That's what he says. He says, give me your mind, give me your consciousness. So that means, what do you mean by giving your mind and consciousness? Is it a physical object? We take it and give it? No. In the mind and then the consciousness, give me a place for me that I am present as the most prominent person, not anything else. So how does that happen? If I read an author's book, literature, I'm transferring his consciousness to me. That means whatever is there in his heart, he wrote it in book form, he penned it down. By reading that book, I'm transferring whatever there in his heart to me. So, as Vaishnavas, when we read these books, we are transferring the heart of all these authors into our heart. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his book called Vani Vaibhava is about those three things. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. How do we develop Sambandha to the Lord? How do we develop Abhideya to the Lord? How do we develop Prayojana to the Lord? So that's what he does. So while he writing the literature, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is pondering, how do I write this? So he takes the extracts of all these books. When he takes extracts of all these books, he gets the consciousness of all these authors. By extracting the consciousness of all those authors, he begins writing this literature. So this is our Acharyas. Really powerful and topmost. No words to glorify them. That brilliant our Acharyas. So when we read the book called Vani Vaibhava by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we get his consciousness. Oh, this is what the author is developed in his heart, and this is how he is practicing bhakti. Let me also develop the same consciousness and practice bhakti. Right? So hence, we have to follow the footsteps of the Acharya, means this. So what you all can do, in fact, including myself, is to keep this as a goal, these books as a goal. Okay. There are many literatures, I picked the topmost. For example, Rupa Goswami has written many literature, but Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is his topmost. Do you know why it is topmost? All the books he completed very fast. He wrote it very quickly. But only Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he took almost something like 11 to 14 years. Something like that it took.
18 years, Prabhu.
I forgot the number. So it took so many years. And even at the end of that time period, he could not complete it. So then he took the assistance of Jiva Goswami. And then he extracted the essence of it. And he wrote that book. So, if the literature of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is an extraction of so much of pondering, consciousness, real life events, support of other devotees, that means what sort of an essence it must be. So that's why it's the topmost book. In fact, our Acharya says that if, let's say, Bhagavatam is an ocean of water, if you took that ocean of water and condensed that into a drop of water, and that one drop of water is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That's what our Acharyas write. So it's a topmost literature. So what we should do, we should read at least once in our life. That way we get the mercy of Rupa Goswami. All our Acharyas, including Prabhupada, what they say? My mercy lies in my book. By one purchasing that book and by reading that book, they become the recipient of that mercy. So by reading Srimad Bhagavatam translated by Srila Prabhupada, we get two benefits. In fact, three benefits. First benefit is we get the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Second benefit is we get the mercy of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura. Third is we get the mercy of the entire parampara. That is why that book is so powerful.
We also get the knowledge, Prabhu.
Yeah. The mercy knowledge all put together. No? Okay, so I thought I will explain this to you all so that you can understand the importance and value. I'll also cut and paste and put this in our group. So star this message. Take each and every book. How much ever you understand doesn't matter. But by reading that book once, you get the mercy of the Acharya. Take that.
It is any book is the same, no person. Mercy of Prabhupada and mercy of that particular author and everybody.
Correct. No, but some books Prabhupada is not written. No? For example, Vani Vaibhav, Prabhupada did not write.
Yeah.
It was written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Right. So you get the Acharya's mercy.
Yes.
So this is what I want to share. Because one is giving this Bhagavatam class. Another is attending classes like Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. Yeah, the list goes on. But what has happened to you? I was correcting Brahminical initiation papers of some other devotees recently. They asked me to correct. When I was correcting, I was very disappointed because the quality of answers are very poor. So my thought was, this devotee has not understood anything and he wants Brahminical initiation. How to give Brahminical initiation without understanding anything? Because he will misuse. Now, let's say if I don't train a soldier how to use a special machine or a gun, whatever it may be. If he misuses, it may blast and he may die. But if he's trained to use it properly, he'll get the maximum benefit. So it's very disappointing. Two papers I corrected, and both papers are very poor in answers. No understanding of the subject at all. I gave raw feedback to his guide, to his mentor. Please look into this, Prabhu. Personally, I won't recommend, but choice is yours. That's what I told him. So this clearly tells devotees are not reading books with dedication. So, but at least in this group, I request all of you to read with dedication. In fact, make it as a habit every day. Reading the book and hearing a lecture, both are same. Okay, both way you get Krishna conscious. So you choose. And both are considered Shravana. Reading and hearing are Shravana. So you can choose, you can alternate, you can give time for reading also, not just hearing a lecture. Okay, so let's go to this Canto 3 now. Oh, how come it went to 24? Let's go to So we talked about questions by Vidra. We gave in the last class life of Vidra, what happened. I mean, that last part, right? And how Vidra is considered a great soul. So why Vidra is considered a great soul? By carefully analyzing his life and activities, you can understand Vidra was a great soul. Look at his detailing of the life. When he was thrown out of Hastinapur, or when he left Hastinapur by his own choice, what did he do? He did not go for enjoyment, or he did not go build another palace and say, okay, I'm the king now, I'll live my own life what I want. No. He wanted the goal of his life. What was the goal of his life? Purification. There was a question that was asked, why he did not go to Krishna to meet Krishna straight away. I said, no. He said, I'm ineligible to meet Krishna. I better purify my life. So he went to every tirtha, took bath early in the morning, cold. He didn't care for his bodily comfort or discomfort. Whether he got food or not, he didn't care. He slept on the streets. Who? I mean, Vidra is such a great position in Hastinapur. But this is what he went through. Why? Because the body is conditioned to comfort. The salt and the sweet and the blood is giving you comfort. So he said, no, I will take austerities. That is when my mind will tame. My mind will become conscious of Krishna. So after going, how many years? We read, no, in the last class, 30 to 35 years of travel he did by walk. Go to every tirthas, places, purify himself. And finally, when he reached the purity level, Krishna made the arrangement to make him to meet Uddhava. Right? That's what we read and we understood. So our life currently is also on a similar path. We've done sinful activities and reactions in the past years or past births. Now it's time to look into it in a very detailed manner. That means take a lens and look into it. What is that I've done? What is that I can do? I have discussed about this many times, but I'll repeat this once again. So about a couple of years back, we were in Vrindavan. We were with Bhurijan Prabhu. We were in a resort. That resort was constructed by Bhurijan Prabhu and his, and his team. So while in a conversation with him, he's an initiating guru, so his disciples call him Maharaj, but he can be called Dasa because he's not a sannyasi. So in a conversation with him, actually I was doing my chanting, he called me in the morning and come over. So I went to his room, I was sitting with him. Then I was asking Maharaj, what books are you writing now? So he showed me about his literature, a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatham. The base is Srila Prabhupada's commentary, and then he added more nectars by giving a variegated view, how to understand the subject matter. So that was the literature he was doing. Then I asked him, is that everyone should write books, Maharaj? I asked him. He said, no, this is what my life has been. So he was in GBC, many other institutions, organizations, or groups as directors and members and things like that. But he did execute his duty very nicely for a long period of time. But when he crossed his age of about 65, 70, something like that, when he crossed that age, he said, I've done all these things as my duty, I'm done. Now I want to give my consciousness only for Krishna. So what he did, he just resigned, even from Vrindavan Institute of Spiritual Science, even the VHS, he was also there as a director or something. He quit that also. Now he holds 0 positions. I quit everything and I only do 2 things, he said. So what I do? Every day I do my chanting very nicely. Every word that I recite, I remember the Lord. And after doing my chanting, I write books. Why books helps me? Because while writing my books, I remember Krishna's every detailing about Lord Krishna so deeply inscribed into my heart. And that's a specialty of writing books. So I write books. If I have to write books, I have to refer many things. So it keeps making me Krishna conscious so much. And I asked him, Maharaj, how many times do you eat? I eat only one meal a day. And the rest of it, I just take a little bit here and there, some fruits, some dry fruits and things like that. So very light. What's the second activity, Maharaj? I asked him. He said, I have devotees around the world. They keep coming to Vrindavan and I keep mentoring. That's it. I don't do anything else. I've been thinking about what Maharaj said for many days now, many months now. So this is phenomenal. I just reflected this on our life as one of Varnashrama Dharma. As a brahmachari life, we get trained. Oh, this is how to think, this is how to act, this is how to control our senses and mind. As a grihastha, we execute our duties. Great personalities like Prithu Maharaj, King Priyavarta, King Bharata, Dhruva Maharaj. The list goes on, Chitraketu, Ambarish Maharaj. So they executed their duties as a grihastha. But when time came, they just renounced. Whatever may be the duties, they renounced. And what did they do after renouncing? They focused on purification of their consciousness and their life and nothing else. They did not deviate their mind into other things of material activities or activities that are considered external to the consciousness, pure consciousness. They did not do that. They all went back on that. So you see, we are also going through this grihastha life. But once the duty matter is over, we should just walk out of it. My duty time period, I'm done. The next legacy will take it forward. I shall not do this anymore. And that's the legacy that each of our acharyas have left. So what do we do? What do we carry forward the legacy? Saying that, okay, I have role modeled how to run this show. Now it's your duty to run it. So the legacy lives what is called as role modeling. And what do? They get into the last journey of the life. That's how they pass the final exam. So this is what we learn. And this is what he said. It was scintillating. Every hair on my body stood erect. I said, I immediately prayed to Govardhan. When will I get this consciousness? When will I get a consciousness to renounce these things and do a life like this? So think about it. This is exactly what the great people are doing it, right? And Vidura also did the same thing. So let's begin with that consciousness and
Even if
read.
we have one question, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Even if we have that thing to do, but I think we should have the mercy of the Lord and the Guru to do it, no, Prabhu?
Mataji, what are you talking? Because of the mercy of the Lord, you came to a spiritual organization.
Yes.
Because of the mercy of the Lord, you got your Diksha from your Guru. Because of the mercy of the Lord, you are able to hear and learn so many books of this matter. What else you need? Lord has already done his duty. You have to execute your duty now.
Yes.
How can you keep saying, oh, I need more mercy? No, mercy is already given. That's why we are here. All of us, we are able to practice so much. We are able to be, so much detached from the hardcore material activities that are going on. I got a VIP pass today. to attend the Independence Day ceremony in Bangalore, that military grounds. Very special it is. And it's very difficult to get the VIP pass.
In fact, I'm taking children and going there, Prabhu.
So I said, no, this is not my consciousness. I don't want to go. I called my friend and said, are you interested? Yes, I gave it to him for the VIP pass. He's going for gate number 4. He said, I'm interested. I want to go. I said, so the point is, the mercy is already there. Are you using it? Food is there on your plate. Are you eating it? There's enough rain that is coming to you. Are you taking that water? That is the question you need to ask. If there was no mercy, God would have put a material Maya would have put us into severe economic crisis first. If there is no mercy, you may not even have a good health. If there is no mercy, we may be in the wrong place, under a wrong leader, under a wrong organization, and wrong practices. See, mercy was there. That's why everything became so nice. So let's take it as our duty and use it. Okay. So now it is in our hand. God has done his duty. Now we have to take it. Okay. So let's read now text 1.1. Sri Sukha Vacha Evam Etat Pura Prishto Maitreyo Bhagavan Kila Shatravanam Pravistena Tvakta Swagraham Riddhimat. Sukadeva Goswami said, after renouncing his prosperous home and entering the forest, King Vidura, the great devotee, asked this question to his grace, Maitreya Rishi. Okay, so he is asking Maitreya Rishi the set of questions now, but in that question, the past would be revealed. Okay, so read 1.2. Yadva ayam mantra kridvo Bhagavan Akileshwaraha Pauravendra graham hitva praviveshat masatkritam. Here the key word is Akileshwaraha. Okay, why Krishna is called Akileshwara? That's what you have to learn. What else is there to say about the residential house of the Pandavas? Sri Krishna, the Lord of everything, acted as your minister. Now look at the word here. He used to enter that house as if it were his own. And he did not take any care of Duryodhana's house. Now imagine Krishna entering the house of the Pandavas, means Krishna entering the house of the Pandavas physically and mentally. That means he entered the hearts of the Pandavas also. And how did he enter? He had so much of freedom that he felt like just wants to be there all the time. He just entered as if it is his own house. Now, can the Lord Krishna enter our hearts? No. There are so many blockages. So Krishna doesn't enter our heart. So what do we need to do? That's the question we need to ask. And hence we read the life of Vidura. Okay, can someone read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Read Mataji.
According to the Gaudiya Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva philosophy, anything which satisfies the senses of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is also Sri Krishna. For example, Sri Vrindavana Dhama is non-different from Sri Krishna, Tad Dhama Vrindavanam, because at Vrindavana, the Lord enjoys the transcendental bliss of his internal potency. Similarly, the house of the Pandavas was also the source of transcendental bliss for the Lord. It is mentioned here that the Lord identified the house with his own self. Thus, the house of the Pandavas was as good as Vrindavana, and Vidura should not have given up that place of transcendental bliss. Therefore, the reason for his quitting the house was not exactly family misunderstanding. Rather, Vidura took the opportunity to meet Rishi Maitreya and discuss transcendental knowledge. For a saintly person like Vidura, any disturbance due to worldly affairs is insignificant. Such disturbances, however, are sometimes favorable for higher realization, and therefore, Vidura took advantage of a family misunderstanding in order to meet Maitreya Rishi. Hare Krishna.
See, a weakness, Vidura converted to an opportunity. Right? What is the weakness here? Or weakness or a threat? Threat was, hey, you have a position, get out. Otherwise, I'll kill you. So now, people with material consciousness, what they will do? They are dejected and they will commit suicide or they'll run away. They will be devastated. But what does a transcendentalist do? Any negative opportunity in our life, he converts that positive. He converted that threat or weakness into an opportunity. What opportunity? He immediately went in search of Maitreya Rishi and asked the question. What questions he asked? He asked about Krishna. Now look at here. The house of the Pandavas was also the source of transcendental bliss of the Lord. That means, the author is concluding that the house of the Pandavas is non-different from Vrindavana. Why? The Lord wants to live in Vrindavan. Right? In Brihad Bhagavatam, we read one short pastime, right? What is that pastime? And Krishna was trying to get up. What was the question he was asking? Where is Vrindavan? Where is Vrindavan? He did not ask, hey, you come here, how are you? Is my breakfast ready? Is any demon has come that I have to kill him? He didn't ask any of those questions. He said, how are the people of Vrindavan? So that means the heart of the Lord is palpitating all the time about Vrindavan. Now, such a Lord thinks that the house of the Pandavas is also Vrindavan. And that is the beauty. So now, if your house or our houses are made as Vrindavan by its purity, by the things that we talk, practice, do, and all those things, the Lord will reside in that house. That is the beauty here. That's the extract of the statement. So there are two themes. One, you take why the Lord comes to one's house or one's consciousness. Second, we convert every weakness or a threat into an opportunity. And that's the glory of a devotee. And Vidura exactly did. Right? In fact, Vidura probably was praying, let Duryodhana throw me out. I use that as an opportunity to purify myself. Right? So isn't that wonderful? So take every opportunity, every weakness and threat in your life as an opportunity to get closer towards Krishna. Prabhupada had a brilliant pharmacy. Krishna shut it down. Did Prabhupada go weak in his heart and said, oh Lord, you keep causing failures to my life? No, he took that as an opportunity and converted that into become a Jagat Guru. In fact, Krishna is thinking, Prabhupada, you're a Jagat Guru. You're going to transform this entire world. What are you sitting as a pharmacist and chemist and trying to sell some powder and some medicine? This is not your cup of tea. Hence, Krishna forced the situation to close it. Nardaji. Narada, you're going to be Bhakta Priya of this entire world. You're going to give bhakti to everyone in this world. What are you sitting there as a servant maid and doing something? He deprived of everything and gave him that opportunity. So Lord gives things that are very higher if our consciousness also evolves higher. If you keep your consciousness lower and lower, God will say, what is that I can give you? Because you're still lower in your consciousness. You're not evolving. This is important. Let's read 1.3. Rajo Vacha Kutra Shatrur Bhagavata Maitreyena Sa Sangamaha Kadava Saha Samvada Yetat Varnaya Na Prabhu. The king asked Sukadeva Goswami, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vidura and His Grace Maitreya Rishi? Kindly oblige, my Lord, and describe this to us. Right, okay. 1.4. Nahi alparto dayastasya vidurasya malatmanaha tasmin varyasi prashnaha sadhu vadopa brahmitaha. Saint Vidura was a great saint, was a great and a pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore, his questions to great Rishi Maitreya must have been very purposeful, on the highest level and approved by learned circles. Now, what do we learn out of this? When our great personalities come, they speak great things. Purified consciousness speak purified subjects. So that is why when a sannyasi comes, why we rush to the temple, why we want to hear his transcendental bliss? Because he will talk great subjects. He will not talk mundane subjects. He is not going to talk about an IPL match or anything like that. He is going to talk about a topic that will transform our consciousness. So hence it is important to take the shelter and mercy of such personalities. So now look at it. Therefore, this question to His Grace Maitreya, she must have been very purposeful. Why? Because Vidura is a realized soul, he is not an ordinary person. And what? He is on highest level, approved by learned circles. That means everyone knows. So hence, let us hear, what did he actually speak? Is there any literature in Bhagavatam or Puranas or where it may be, that a conversation by Duryodhana is explained? No. He is a low person. So there's no point in hearing such people. That means to hear, to see, to experience mundane topics is of no value. That's what Acharya is trying to conclude. Okay. So this purport is also very interesting. Can someone read this purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can you read, Prabhu?
Read.
Hare Krishna. Question and answers among different classes of men have different value. Inquiries by mercantile men in a business exchange cannot be expected to be highly purposeful in spiritual values. Questions and answers by different classes of men can be guessed by the caliber of the person concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, the discussion was between Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna, the supreme person and the supreme devotee, respectively. The Lord admitted Arjuna to be his devotee and friend. Bhagavad Gita 4.3. And therefore, any sane man can guess that the discussion was on the topic of the
Bhakti
Yoga systems. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on the principle of Bhakti Yoga. There is a difference between the karma and karma yoga. Karma is regulated action for the enjoyment of the fruit by the performer. But karma yoga is an action performed by the devotee for the satisfaction of the Lord. Karma yoga is based on bhakti or pleasing the Lord, whereas karma is based on pleasing the sense of the performer himself. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one is advised to approach a bona fide spiritual master when one is actually inclined to question from an elevated level of spiritual understanding. A common man who has no interest in spiritual values has no need to approach a spiritual master just as a matter of following fashion. As a student, Maharaja Parikshit was serious about learning the science of God, and Sukadeva Goswami was a bona fide spiritual master in the transcendental science. Both of them knew that the topics discussed by Vidura and Rishi Maitreya were elevated, and thus Maharaja Parikshit was very interested in learning from the bona fide spiritual master. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so you understood. Hey, great topic. Let's hear. So hence Parikshit asked the question to Sukadeva. Please tell us what questions Vidura asked to Maitreya. I want to know. And hence the next canto, that means canto 3 of Bhagavatam manifested. Right? If Parikshit did not ask that question, what happened? Sukadeva Goswami said, okay, practice Bhakti Yoga, Manmana Bhagavat Bhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, and go back to Godhead, and you would have vanished. So you see the intelligence of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, 1.5. Suta vacha sa evam rishi varyoyam pristo rajna parikshita pratyaha tam subahu with pritatma sruyatam iti. Sri Suta Goswami said, the great says Sukadeva Goswami was highly experienced and was pleased with the king. Thus being questioned by king, he said to him, please hear the topics attentively. Okay. So now again, just like 7.1 Krishna told Arjuna, now Arjuna clearly, attentively hear what I'm going to speak now, because that's when the beginning of Bhakti Yoga begins in Bhagavad Gita. So now he's talking very clearly. Now clearly hear what I'm going to speak, because I'm going to speak the most nectarian topic that was discussed in Bhagavatam. Okay. 1.6. Shri Sukavacha. Yadutu Raja Swasutan Ashudan pusnanna dharmena vinasta drishtihi bratu yavistasya sutan vibandhum praveshya laksha bhavena dadaha. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, King Dhritarashtra became blind under the influence of impious desires to nourish his dishonest sons. Now look at it. Became blind. So he's already blind, then why the author is blind? Because now he's blind internally also. Under the influence of his impious desires and to nourish his dishonest sons. And thus he set fire to the lacquer house to burn his fatherless nephew, the Pandavas. Okay, purport. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth, but his blindness in committing impious activities to support his dishonest sons was greater blindness than his physical lack of eyesight. So clear the author is saying that he was blind internally and he was blind externally. Now today, in this material world, Prabhupada says, everyone is a madman. Prabhupada uses the word, everyone is a madman. Why? Who's a madman? Because a person who does not, who's not aware of his consciousness and his mind, and he does crazy things, is called a madman. So Prabhupada said, the people in this world are all madmen. They do all crazy things. Right? They do crazy things because they're internally blind. When you're blind, you cannot see the truth. You cannot see the reality. You will go hit yourself against a wall and you will damage your body, damage yourself. That's what people in this material world are doing. Right? So he's clearly narrating internal blindness and external blindness. So our spiritual subject is all about how do we awaken the internal blindness and to become fully aware of what is Krishna conscious and life is all about. Okay, 1.7. Yada sabhyayam kuru deva devayah keshabi marasham sutta karma garyam navarayam asa nirpas snusashayah swasayr harantaya kucha kunkumani. Then king did not forbid his sons Dushashana, abominable action against grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhishthir, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast. That means the sindoor is coming and falling on her face, and even that means so much of crying is going on. Right? So what is the point here? Dhritarashtra was blind internally, hence he did not see adharma happening. He only covered adharma with the sentiment and the love for his son in a blind manner. That means what? Our children are doing wrong things. Rather than questioning those activities, what are we doing? We are embracing those activities. Oh, he is my son, so let him do. So what? And that is the attitude of Dhritarashtra. And what sort of abomination like Dushashana did? He disrobed her. She's the daughter-in-law of the entire kingdom. He disrobed her publicly. I mean, this is the most heinous act, and yet Dhritarashtra did not act on it. He did not even punish Dushashana. And thus, it said, Duryodhana misplaced his powers. Okay, 1.8. Dyuthe tva adharmena jitasya sadaho satyavalambasya vanam gatasya nayochato adat samayena dayam tamo jushano yad ajato shatruho. Yudhishthira, who was born without any enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling. Look at the word he uses. There's no shatru for him. Yudhishthira, who was born without any enemy, no shatru. That is the quality of Yudhishthira. That's why he's called Dharma Raja. Was unfairly defeated in gambling. Why? Because of the greed of Duryodhana. But because he has taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off the forest. He accepted it. Even though it was done in a wrong manner, he accepted because of his truthfulness as a principle. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of kingdom, he was refused by Dhritarashtra. He was overwhelmed by illusion. Can someone read the purport?
Yes, Prabhu. Shall I read through?
Read.
Prabhu, I'm not after translation. Yes.
Maharaj Yudhishthira.
Maharaja Yudhishthira was the rightful heir to his father's kingdom. But just to favor his own sons, headed by Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, Maharaja Yudhishthira's uncle, adopted various unfair means to cheat his nephews and their rightful share of the kingdom. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one for each of the 5 brothers. But that was also refused by the usurper. This incident led to the war of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra, therefore, was induced by the Kurus and not the Pandavas. As Kshatriyas, the proper livelihood of the Pandavas was only to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya will not accept employment for his livelihood under any circumstance. Thank you.
Any circumstance. Good. Okay. So we'll read last sloka for the day, 1.9. Yada cha partha prahita sabayam jagadguru yani jagada krishna natani pumsam amritayanani rajaromene shatapunyaleshah. Lord Krishna was sent by Arjuna into the assembly as a spiritual master of the whole world. And although his words were heard by some, like Bhishma, as pure nectar, it was not so for the others who were completely bereft of the last farthing of pious past works. King Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana did not take the words of Lord Krishna very seriously. So that means it uses the last farthing. Last farthing means a beggar who's having just last 1 penny to spend. Right? So that means if that money, that last 1 penny also spent, means that beggar also, he's already a beggar, he does not have any more else to spend. That means in that pious activity, this is called as the last farthing, the last hope. That's also done. They did not see the position of Krishna. Hence, they did not value statement. Similarly, a person who does not understand what is Guru Bhakti means, he does not understand the real position of his own Guru, spiritual master. So, under such a circumstances, what does he do? He does not care for his instruction. When he doesn't care for his instruction, he does not practice Krishna consciousness properly. That leads to his downfall. So, the primary duty of a disciple is to ensure to care for the instructions of the Guru at all times. Because it is the Guru who has given him his life. Vijabandhu, the second life came by the mercy of the Gurudev. Okay. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Okay. So we'll read this purport. So can someone come forward to read?
Hare Krishna, shall I read, Prabhu?
Read.
Lord Krishna, who is the spiritual master of the entire universe, accepted the duty of a messenger and deputed by Arjuna, went to the assembly of King Dhritarashtra on a peace mission. Krishna is everyone's Lord, yet because he was the transcendental friend of Arjuna, he gladly accepted the role of messenger exactly like an ordinary friend. That is the beauty of the Lord's behavior. And with his pure devotees, he reached the assembly and spoke about peace. And the message was relished by Bhishma and other great leaders because it was spoken by the Lord himself. But due to the exhaustion of the pious results of their past deeds, Duryodhana or his father Dhritarashtra did not take the message very seriously. That is why, that is the way the persons who have no credit of pious deeds. By past pious deeds, one may become a king of a country, but because the results of his pious acts of Duryodhana and company were dwindling, it became evident from their actions that they were sure to lose the kingdom to the Pandavas. The message of Godhead is always like nectar to the devotees, but is just the opposite to the non-devotees. Sugar candies is always sweet to the healthy man, but it tastes very bitter to person suffering from jaundice. Hare Krishna.
So the sugar candy or bitterness is a given example to piety. Hmm? So that's the most important message. So this is the consciousness of the Kauravas. And this is the consciousness of the Pandavas. So as devotees, we shall follow the role modeling and the life of the Pandavas and not of that of the Kauravas. And this is very important. Makes sense?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Okay,
Prabhu.
good.
I have a small question.
Yes, Mataji.
So, pious deeds for devotees, we don't give so much importance to getting the pious merit. But here in the purport, it seems like it's affecting the consciousness positively. So, how to interpret this, Prabhu?
Mataji, piety refers to a broader meaning. It is also a meaning in the circumstances that you're talking. Okay. So, for example, a material person doing a pious deed, what does he do? He goes to an ashram, he donates money, donates things for the old age people. A pious man may go to an educational institution and give a lot of material knowledge to people so that they can come out of poverty. That means he's just rising them of material poverty, right? We have seen rich people donating to medical field where there can be help in research to find medicines for various diseases and cures. See, these are all pious activities. Okay. Now, here in these pious activities, they're all in the bodily concept of life. That means they're all done on the material plane. There's no Krishna here. There's no spiritual consciousness here. And hence, these pious activities leads one to Swargaloka. That is a better place of material world. Okay. If impious activities on the material plane, a worst place of material world, that means you go down. Otherwise, you go up. Now, what is the piety is mentioned here? The piety mentioned here is spiritual piety, which is transcendental in nature. This is not the material punya karma. Here, when the piety means, he talks about the purity towards leading a life. Now, in the previous sloka, we took the example of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira is considered to be a man with no enemies. That means, look at his principles of life. Truthfulness. Now, even though he was defeated in the gambling match in an improper manner, he accepted that to follow the principle and went on Vanavas. So that shows his piety. Here the piety is, he did not donate anything or anyone, but he followed the principles of truthfulness. Why? Because higher and higher platform in Dharma. Pandavas, whatever they executed, they were obedient to what Krishna's plan was. They never deviated from Krishna's plan. The best example is Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira's principle is truthfulness, but just because Krishna told him, he had to go tell that lie to ensure that Ashwatthama's father is being killed. That means I may have 1,000 principles in my life, but I'm ready to break that for Krishna. That is piety. So piety has contextual meaning. Arjuna said, I don't want to fight this war because I don't want to kill someone and get kingdom for myself. But what Krishna taught him, Krishna said, Kala Chakra, time will kill them, Arjuna. But if you allow them to stay for the period of time before they're actually killed by Kala Chakra, they will cause more damage to the people and suffer and cause adharma in this world. And you are being supportive by helping them to perform that adharma. Hence, you should not leave it away. You should fight this war. So, Arjuna had principles. He left those principles and abided to Krishna's principles. And that became the piety. We always think devotion in terms of Navavidha Bhakti, right? But even devotion is there even when you follow the instructions of Lord or your Guru. So, piety has a very broader sense. Who is talking about piety? For Duryodhana, if he serves 100 meals to poor people, that is piety. But where is Krishna in that? There is no Krishna in that. He is doing it for his own punya karma. That is material in nature. So, contextual understanding of it is very, very important. Okay? So, Mataji, you went to an apartment and said, okay, I will teach you some subjects about Krishna, Krishna Katha, and things like that. And you gave a pravachan. People are interested. That's okay, I will come back again and I'll teach you. See, straight away that is piety. There's no doubt about it. So, devotees, they lead a pious life. They become virtuous in their consciousness. For a real devotee to cheat someone, to be untruthful, is impossible. Because his consciousness is transformed. For a devotee to accept any other demigod as supreme is impossible. Because his consciousness becomes so pious that he accepts Krishna as the supreme Lord. So, this is how we understand piety in the context of what Prabhupada has written here in this purport.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I have one question, Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu, generally we will be reading the scriptures, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. But while reading, we try to understand, Prabhu, and what exactly the transcendental point which is being explained, and what are the instructions or injunctions which are being told. And we try to understand, we try to follow it, imbibe, and we try to practice in our life. And other than this, and we also try to practice some verses or any important highlights which have been made. But after the reading, what was the intention of the author or the acharyas? This we were not making. We were not thinking. Then how we should do it?
Prabhu, there are two levels at which you have to understand how certain things work. Okay. So now, let's say you live in a polluted city. You may be eating good food, but just by your fact that you're living in a polluted city will make you sick. Okay. Contrary, let's say you go to a place in Switzerland where the atmosphere, environment, so clean and so hygienic. Just by living in that city, you avoid many diseases that may come to your body. Okay? So you understand this point very clearly?
Yes.
Similarly, by touching a book, by chanting the holy name, by reading the book, whether we understand or not, itself gives us a very large benefit. So that's the first point we should understand.
Kindly repeat, Prabhu.
Just by touching a transcendental book, by reading that book, even if we don't understand, itself gives us a great mileage on the spiritual journey. Okay. So I'll give you an example. There was a devotee, he did not know Russian. Okay. So he went to that class where it was, a devotee who was a Russian, who did not know Indian language. Okay. So he came to the class and he was sitting and he fully sat the class the whole time. Then at the end of the class, he left. So they asked the devotee, Prabhu, you don't know this language. How come you sat in this class? He said, Prabhu, I heard few words which I could understand. One is Krishna, I understood Bhagavatam, and he said some words like Ganga and things like that. Only those words I understood, but that is enough to get purity for me, and I sat for that purpose. Can you see the brilliance of his consciousness? So the point is, get associated with the transcendental subjects at any point in time, somehow or the other. But not associating it, you are getting into a polluted environment where not by even doing anything, you are going to get the disease. That's the point here. So hence, whether you understand the subject very deeply or not, you still participate in it. Second aspect of it, that means I'm now talking about the entry level, now I'm talking about the higher level. The higher level of the meaning is like this. When we read a subject, Bhagavatam concludes that Bhagavatam is made of two parts. Part one is the book itself. The second one is the realized preacher of Bhagavatam. So when these two personalities associate, that means the book Bhagavatam and the person Bhagavatam, transcendental nectar flows out. So one is self-reading, you still get purity. Second is to always connect with devotees who are practicing Srimad Bhagavatam. That way, we will get elevated consciousness. And that is what is important. So wherever Bhagavatam is spoken, if you feel that devotee is genuine, sit down. Leave all other things and sit down and hear. And that's what is important. Helps you, Prabhu?
Prabhu, it helped me, Prabhu, but after reading, because in the morning, while people are discussing about Chaitanya Charitamrita, I mean, Shikshastakam, we understood the meaning entirely and we are following. But what was the intention, we were not thinking.
That's okay. That is okay. You will get purified. That is the transcendental strength of those subjects. Okay. The chit potency of the soul will get manifested, will get uncovered by the mercy of the Lord. When the chit potency gets uncovered by the mercy of the Lord, knowledge automatically manifests of subjects which we were never exposed to or unknown to us. That is how the mercy works.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Any other thoughts, questions? Okay. So if there are no thoughts or questions, let's continue.
One last question, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
What
Yes,
I feel is I should have been doing better, but I'm not able to do certain things. I'm not able to come out. But I'm trying to do my best. That's why I said maybe I need more mercy. Sometimes I also feel I should not compare with the others. Like, what is my capacity I should do? What do you feel, Prabhu? I don't know.
It is correct. It is correct. A hen, if it keeps staring at the eagle and saying, hey, you're able to fly kilometers and still spot your prey and come and take it, but I can hardly fly 7-8 feet. I'm so, defeated in my life, and what's the use of my life? Then the hen as a community cannot exist. Right? So, Bhagavatam preaches, whether you're a hen or an eagle or a vulture or a crow or a pigeon, according to your strengths, capacity, and opportunity, practice bhakti. You will reach the highest state. But prioritize and focus on this subject. Always try to strive to go higher and higher, and that's most important. Don't go lower and lower, and that's not the right thing to do. So keep these principles in life. You will surely able to do. So Krishna awards the mercy when he sees the enthusiasm to go to the next higher level. When the enthusiasm or the intent is not present, but just an activity is present, Krishna keeps quiet. He doesn't reciprocate. So the intent, the enthusiasm is more important than actually what you do. But the beauty is this. When you have the higher intent and the pure consciousness, it will be demonstrated in your action and in your speech. That's it.
Actually, one person, Prabhu, like they asked what you are giving. Like I'm giving for this seva. You are not there, no? Why you're giving for the seva to the temple? I said whether I'm there or not.
My duty.
Yes, that's what I said.
That's the duty of a Rasta. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you for the wonderful class in the morning, Prabhu. That was Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Why we read Shastra? Why we do? Because Shastra is told. Prabhu, why are we doing this? Because Shastra is told. Otherwise, we become fruitive in our consciousness. Hence, we do. My Guru is told, I do. Whether it's right or wrong, no, I don't care. My Guru is told, I will do. Shastra is told, I will do. And that is devotion. Okay. Okay. Thank you all so much. I'm assuming there's no more questions. I wish you a great week until we meet next Saturday. So begin your mood to meditate on Janmashtami and become stronger and stronger. Janmashtami is a great festival. It's the birthday of the Lord. On birthday, he gives away lots of goodies, lots of gifts. If you prepare your consciousness, you become the recipient of that goodie and that mercy of the Lord on his birthday, right? So take up services, do for the pleasure of the Lord, and make your life successful and sweet. Okay? Randra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. I will post that author and book list in the group. I request all of you to store that message and take a plan, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, like that, and slowly, one by one, read. Don't worry whether you understand or not. Doesn't matter. Just read. Okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranam.
Oh, Mataji already posted it. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.